I gave him this map that has all 31 units, so it's real easy for him to see. And that's all.
This is the middle school.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Item 2.0, need a motion to adopt the agenda with the addenda.
So moved.
So moved.
A second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Item 3.0, we need a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting on April 12th at 3:50 p.m., the special meeting minutes of April 12th at 4 p.m., the regular meeting minutes of April 17th, the special meeting minutes of April 19th at 3:45 p.m., the special meeting minutes of April 19th at 4 p.m., the special meeting minutes of April 26th, and special meeting minutes of May 1st to be approved as presented.
Make a motion to approve all those various
Motion made.
minutes.
Second?
And a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passed. Item 4.0, consideration of bills and warrants on pages 15 to 46. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll need a motion.
Move to approve bills and warrants?
So, moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Item 5.0, hearing of requests and suggestions of citizens and organizations. Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to item 6.0, report of the superintendent of schools.
All right. Well, this has been a busy time. We had graduation on Saturday. It was very well attended. It was a nice hour. Got it done in 59 3/4 minutes. And it was great for families and for students alike. So things that we've got coming up: the HVAC update at the middle school and the roofing project. So the basic gist, and Tim is here and has all kinds of information. The 19th, they're coming in and going to stage in that north parking lot. And so that day, staff will still be here. They will park in the west parking lot. The 22nd will be the last day that we will have staff at the middle school. Maintenance and technology will be moving them to the D wing at the high school. So if people need to get a hold of someone at the middle school, they still call the middle school phone number. It'll just be rerouted to the D wing at the high school. All of our summer school programs for middle school students will also be in that D wing. It has its own entrance and exit, so middle school kids won't be anywhere else, in the rest of the high school. But that's on the 22nd, will be the last day. We're going to pack up and move. Beginning the 23rd, we'll be there. Beginning the 23rd, no one will be able to get into either of those parking lots or the building. They have that very large crane, and for safety and insurance and liability purposes, no. And for a while, they'll have those roads blocked off, won't they, Tim?
Yeah, Daryl said we could block off the road on the side of the school on 28th Street, wherever it is.
So are there any questions about those projects coming up? He has all kinds of information. We can send it to you Friday in the View, extra maps, and so that you can see kind of what they're doing at the middle school. It's a big project.
The D wing. What is the D wing?
So those are the rooms that currently have our social studies and science. So here, when you go down, you have the science. You know where the science rooms are at the high school? Okay, and you keep going. It's like Caleb Reed's room, Palmier's room, Lonnie Corton's room. Those rooms, the health.
They were the ones built on.
Right.
It's on the east side. Yeah.
Right, and then that way there's a door for them to get in and out of right there. So that's where it'll be. That's where they'll have summer school. All of our offices will be there. And hopefully, the timeline looks like we should be back in.
If everything goes right, cross your fingers, the roofer says he can be done by the 27th of June.
Wow.
And that's the roofing part. The units should be on the roofs, but you still have to have the hot water and electrical and the plumbing and stuff, and they get to balance the system. So you're still going to have they said around 2 to 3 weeks after all the units are on the roof, they could probably have them ready to go. So, and by then the crane will be gone and we'll be back.
And we have a backup plan, correct?
We do. If for some reason the building isn't ready, isn't inhabitable, what we're going to have to do is look at pushing back the first week of school, the start date, about 5 days, which shouldn't be super problematic, even if those days weren't days that we had to make up. We have plenty of hours in the calendar. But I really think that now all of a sudden it started to rain. So that'll have an impact on the schedule and those kinds of things. But it looks like middle of July, we should be all done. So,
I talked to the crane operator, and he said it had to be a 20-mile-an-hour sustained wind before he couldn't run the crane. And the roofers, on their paperwork, he said that if it's over 30% chance of rain, they kind of have to watch tearing off. They're going to have things made to cover the hole if there is rain, so there won't be any damage to the facility and all that. But when he said 27th, it's like, yeah, sounds good.
it's going to be great. And this was all funded with ESSER money, with the exception of that 10%, the bonds and things that we have to pay out of capital outlay. So that's good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, well, and then I have a few more things, sorry. May 17th, 8th grade promotion, that's pretty quick. It's at the middle school at 6 o'clock, so we invite folks to come out for that. I'm sure Mr. Gordon's going to mention that. The last student day this week is May the 18th, which is Thursday. Students get out at noon. Teachers will have the afternoon to do grade cards. And then May the 19th, that morning, it's basically checkout for teachers, especially at the middle school. They're taking all the animals home, all the plants home, because they won't be able to get in the building during the month. So that day is checkout at noon on Friday. May the 29th, Memorial Day, our district office will be closed on that Monday. And then we're going to blink, and it's going to be time for summer school already. And that's going to work like this. Elementary and middle school are going to run June the 5th through the 29th. And that's Monday through Thursday in the mornings. Okay? And there will be meals provided through the hospital. They have the grant program, and they're doing that. So we have that for those folks. Juneteenth will be the only day we don't have summer school during the month of June. Now, the high school is going to start June the 5th, go through July the 27th. They're Monday through Thursday as well. They'll have Juneteenth off, as well as the week of the 4th of July. They're closed. They don't have any classes that week. They have morning and afternoon sessions as well. So that's what we've got. We're busy just wrapping it up and then getting started again. Any questions?
All right, if not, we'll go on to 7.0, reports by principals. Eric Swanson and Ralph Barkas from the high school are not here. We have,
I think Rob may be here.
excuse me.
Eric sent his
I
report.
didn't see him earlier.
Oh, he's got some athletic
All
things
right.
to tell us about, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
It's been a little exciting this last week.
I've been
Yes.
busy.
Busy.
I'll try to look up a little bit, but I have a lot to go over with our activities and our athletics. I'll start with our FCCLA. We've had 3 from FCCLA qualify for nationals in Denver. Mia Hetlinger, Jace Quirin, and Cade Brown. We had quite a few qualify for HOSA Nationals in Dallas. Jaden Heck, Brooke Duroni, Carly Valdez, Braylon White, Kenzie Baldwin, and Mia Hetlinger. TSA Nationals in Louisville. Connor Barkas, Antonio and Aida, Lucas Fugate, Landon Swafford, Jace Quirin, Anthony Bauer, Noah McIntosh, and Sam Brewer. Skills USA is going to Atlanta, Georgia. We had 3 qualify there. Gracie Meyer, Braylon White, and Cynthia Scheibe. We actually had 2 state champions there, Matilde Gonzalez-Rodriguez and Autumn Shields. They won the state competition in TV productions, but Matilde was our foreign exchange student, and she flies home Thursday, so they don't have an opportunity to compete in nationals. The forensics 4A state championship, we had a state championship team with Race Baker and Olivia Martinez in improvised duet acting, and they were also runner-up in duo interpretation. Forensics also qualified 7 students to the national tournament in Phoenix, Arizona. Jace Quirin, who I've named in numerous competitions, so he's not going to go to Phoenix, but there's also Axel Ramirez, Chloe Pontius, Madeline Armitage, Mackenzie Talafiero, Olivia Martinez, and Race Baker. Baseball plays in regional tomorrow at Iola, 2 o'clock. They play Fort Scott. They're the 12th seed. They finished their regular season at 9-11. Softball finished their season at 4-11. Another increase in win total. I think they went from 1 to 4 this year, and they've been competitive in a lot of their games. Track and field goes to regional Friday in Chanute. This past Thursday, we had league championships, and our league champions were Marion Ryan in the 100-meter hurdles and the high jump, Caden Berry in the pole vault. Caden also broke, I believe, a 30-year-old record in the pole vault that set for a long time, and Anaya Hinman in the triple jump. Swimming just finished last week with our league championships in Osawatomie. Carly Spriggs just didn't quite make it with consideration time. She had a consideration time she sent in. She just didn't quite make it. Golf regional was today in Coffeyville. Jace was competing. I'm not sure how that ended up. I don't know how much they got during the rain, with the rain. And tennis this weekend in Pratt. The Parsons boys finished in second place in the 4A state tournament. Wyatt Schultz finished second in singles. Connor Barkas and Davis West finished second in doubles. Tanner Nolting finished sixth in singles. And Davian Holman and Cole Kennett, even though they didn't medal, they earned a team point in doubles. I'd like to congratulate Coach Jane Posh and Haley Kennett. Second place finish was kind of unexpected. I mean, I think we thought we could finish in the top 5, but second place was really great. And then last week, we had hosted our first track meet, JVSEK Regional, since before COVID. 7 teams, we got it all in, but the 4x4s, it started storming last Thursday. I think Mike Castle, he came and did the bullpen for us and helped out a lot. And you forget how big an undertaking running a track meet is to all the workers and all the things that go on there. So I'd like to thank everybody that helped out there. Any questions on any of the activities or athletics?
Hey, Rob, who held that pole vault record, do you know?
I'm not sure.
It was 1975.
Yeah,
I hear somebody else.
someone yelled it. I don't know.
1975.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Big congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We have what, Tyler from the middle school?
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to report on the middle school. Mr. Pontius is at a softball game this evening. I was trying to remember what the name of the sport was. All right, so over the past week, we have finished up state assessments. We've finished up our progress monitoring. And so that's always the main purpose of school, is to learn and to stay academia. And we try to keep that up at the forefront. Fast bridge testing is back. Our wildly important academic goal for the school year was 60% of the middle school students to show typical growth and above from fall to spring. So 60 was the goal. Math came in at 54% of the students, and that's 6th through 8th grade combined. ELA came in at 63, so they actually went and beat our goal. If we average them two together, we fell short just 1.5% of our goal whenever we took a look at where our students were at the beginning of the year and what our goal should be by the end. The strongest growth that was seen was with our 8th grade class, all right? And so that goes out to Shannon Miller, who showed 72% of her students showing a typical year's worth of growth in that progress monitoring, and Wendy Neff, who showed 65%. And so those were the two kind of outstanding performances whenever we saw progress monitoring, meeting the kids where they're at and then showing how much growth they had. Average daily attendance is up this school year, and we've only got a couple days left, but we're up 1% from last school year. Chronic absenteeism is down 1% from last school year, and so I think the incentives helped. I think having Christina Mayhew was another great advocate for it and doing those home visits. So we've kind of stopped the free fall of chronic absenteeism, and we saw a trend the other way this school year. Engagement is something that we're always taking a look at, active engagement, not just like compliant engagement, but engagement throughout the building. First quarter was 82%. Our professional development shifted a focus onto highly engaging strategies where the kids are actively participating in their learning. They're saying it, they're reading it, they're speaking it, and they're hearing it. And so a lot of partner work structured partner work, not just go work with your partners, but a lot of Kagan strategies. So engagement, first quarter was 82%, second quarter was our highest at 92%, third quarter came in at 88%. All year, that's 261 walkthroughs on roughly 25, 30 staff members whenever you take into consider our shared staff. And that engagement was at 87%. We're actively engaged whenever we did those walkthroughs. Social emotional reporting, according to our panorama surveys. The biggest strength that we saw was self-efficacy. 2 years ago, it was our lowest, and that's kind of the opposite of apathy. I know whenever you talk to educators today, one of the things that we struggle with is student apathy. Well, I don't care if I don't do this assignment. I don't care what the consequences are. Just kind of really standoffish. We saw a rise from 39% last year reporting that they have those strong characteristics, and this year it's up to 44%. And so we've got the students growing socially at the middle school, especially tracking that 8th grade class. Building culture survey for the staff, and so then we surveyed the staff. Educating all students was our highest rating, so meeting the kids where they're at. 77% of the middle school staff responded favorably, that they are confident in their abilities to reach students of different cultures, abilities, and challenges. Staff leadership relationships saw the highest rate of growth with a 7% improvement from fall to spring. They were asked questions like, how fairly does the leadership treat you? And how friendly are the school leaders towards you? Summer school letters went out today also. We had 36 students that we sent that we'd like to request to come to. They either didn't benchmark on grade level, they didn't meet their growth targets, or they failed one of the core classes, and so we're going to bring them into that D wing. We've got 5 staff members right now ready to go, and they'll be focused on ELA and math. Our last E-Mints meeting was this afternoon, where the staff members posted their reflections of that large grant that provided our technology whenever we needed it most. That's been 72 hours of professional development over the past 2 years. It's not an easy undertaking. It's quite a bit. It ate up a lot of our PD days. Our staff members stayed after school to get the majority of those hours outside of the contract time. With the E-Mints, they had to upload lessons that were recorded to the American Institute of Research because that's where all the funding comes through, and then E-Mints funnels it through Missouri University, and it makes its way to us. It also comes with a community project and a building project. Our community project, we let our student council students kind of organize it. We did it first semester was just building culture, and then the second semester they hit something a little bit bigger, and they actually secured $15,000 in funding through the Parsons Area Community Foundation for new activity and recess equipment. So we're able to do that. As per our last meeting at the community room at the middle school, whenever you guys came, we reached out to Ariana Bennett and identified a couple of other grants that that Mrs. Nolting, actually, she took the leadership on this one. She reached out to Ariana and got a couple of links and a couple of leads that we can take to help reseal our courts in that back activity field and take care of some of the more of the infrastructure things. Activities and athletics. Tomorrow, the high school football staff is coming over to sign those 8th grade students that want to play football next school year. 8th grade academic awards are at 8:15 a.m. Wednesday in the auditorium, and so that's where we're inviting community members to come in and see that also. They can bring their parent or guardian. They'll sit in the back, 8th grade will sit up front, and we'll recognize the students' GPAs, perfect attendance, and some outstanding performances in some of their elective classes. 8th grade promotion is then Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. So they're going to go from the awards assembly. We're going to rehearse the promotion ceremony 3 to 5 times until I think that we can do it competently and proficiently that evening. And then we'll put them on buses and we'll send them to Forest Park and bowling. And that'll be their Action 8 day of activities. Promotion at 6 p.m. Wednesday. 6th and 7th grade, they have activities all week also. Don't ask me specifically. It's every grade level is splitting the kids into different spots, and they've got different structured activities for them, from our campus to the Circle Park to West Side Rec. And so we've got, kids are everywhere, it seems like. And then they have field day on Thursday with that noon, 12 p.m. dismissal. And then middle school weights begin in June, the first full week of June. I think it's June 5th they're going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Summer school goes Monday through Thursday. And we're going to be in the D wing at the high school.
And the weights will be here at the high school.
That's right. Yeah, we've moved a lot of our equipment over to handle the numbers that they're going to have.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yeah.
Kurt Freeze and Misty. Okay.
I know this meeting's later.
Good evening. Busy times in our schools. I think you've heard a lot going on, and like Tyler said, specifics could be a challenge, but these last few weeks at Guthrie's have been really a busy time to celebrate what I consider to be a really successful year in terms of hardworking students, student achievement, and a hardworking staff. And then I think we've really focused a lot on trying to get our kids to enjoy each other, be kind to each other, and then do well. And so we planned a lot of things to try to celebrate that. So I thought back throughout the year, when we had that meeting, I was thinking about, thanks to some help from PTO, our kids got to go to the Caney Zoo. We did the ropes course at Greenbush. We had science labs at Greenbush. Science labs come here. I'm going to forget a few things. Not put my glasses on. We did a 5th grade scavenger hunt highlighted by a stop by Brahms. The kids got to get some ice cream from Brahms. Today, we rewarded all our kids that had met their growth on 2 or more map assessments. So I think we took 48 4th graders to my wife's gym this morning for an hour of jumping, and then tomorrow the 5th grade gets to do that. And then they came back and we had snow cones for them. All the while in the classroom, in the science lab, Mr. Holmes has had a Harry Potter thing, so they were doing a chemical reaction and making Sorcerer's Stone, while our 5th grade has been reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so there's some goo being made. So I'm really impressed. Those teachers are working harder on these days, but if you walk in our building, it's not shut down. We're not watching movies. It's a lot of fun, a lot of rewarding. And then this Thursday, we're going to formally celebrate with our award ceremony, 9 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Peak does a great job of live streaming. If you can't make it, we'll recognize straight A's, honor roll, Viking Pride citizenships, and then those kids that made 3 out of 3 MAP goals. And I think the number of those kids that did that were 20 of our 4th graders and 30 of our 5th graders met or exceeded their projected growth from last spring till this spring. And that's really hard to do. 30 of our 5th graders did it, and we've got about 85 5th graders, so that's over a third of them. And our 4th graders, we had over 20 of them make it. And then we just took our state assessments, and we're happy and proud with them. And if you dig into it, you see some things. We've really focused on math as a building, and one of the highlights, I think, is in our 5th grade, you can get a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. And so math growth is individualized, and no matter how low you are, you can always grow. But in a state assessment, it's hard to turn a 1 into a 2 or a 2 into a 3. And 24 of our 5th graders either stayed at a 4 or moved up a level. So that's over, almost a third of our 5th graders moved up a level or stayed at a 4 in math. And then in 4th grade, they've always been strong in ELA. And 30 of our 4th graders, and we've got 100, so 30 of our 4th graders moved up a level, and 4 of our 4s stayed the same, so 34. So over a third of our 4th graders in ELA moved up a level. So kudos to them. A lot of hard work, and it did pay off. I think I've covered all those things. Really positive year. Really proud of our kids and staff. Any questions? Hard pass. You're up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, we've been on some wonderful field trips here lately. We've gone to the Wichita Zoo, we've gone skating, we've gone to the Fort Scott Historic Site, the Arboretum, and a bounce house. And I want to give a shout out to Rick and the bus drivers. They have done an excellent job. The teachers have said there were kind of some crazy uncertainties once they got at some of these places, but the drivers were calm and just up for going to a different shelter house at a different park because there were already lots of kids at the one they got to. And so anyway, that's going really well. And then with our MAP tests, our students have met and exceeded our building goals for the year. Today, Ms. McClary and I went around to all the classrooms and passed out little plastic golden zoo animals to students who met or exceeded their growth. And then we had our first, in the 7 years I've been there, it was our first talent show. And we had some very courageous students who auditioned in front of Mr. Barrick, and they either performed solo or in little groups, and it was absolutely darling to watch. And then our staff went on an outing recently. We went to the Katy Golf Club and had a big turnout. We enjoyed their golf simulator and ate supper together. And then for Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week last week, we had meals, coffee, teas, donuts, cookies, school supplies, all thanks to the district office, PTO, our community, maybe the board. Can't remember. Can't keep up with it all. Yes is a good answer. Thank you, board. And then we had Mrs. Burke. Ms. Burke did a wonderful job at our orchestra concert that was a week ago. And third graders have gone over and toured Guthridge. The second graders performed their pennies for poems in the park. We had our family engagement night recently where we had our color walk at Forest Park. We had probably about 275 people at that. That was very fun end of the year event. And then with our state assessments, we've had our first glance at our state assessment results. And we are very happy to see that our third graders have exceeded the state average, not only in math, but also in reading this year. And despite the challenges that we face every single day and being post-COVID, our teachers and our students continue to exceed our expectations. And then recently, I watched the Kentucky Derby, and it made me think about how well the students did. That all year long, like with the horses, they make sure they're given every single thing they need. And then on race day, you want them to do well. And so here's the things, just a nutshell of some of the things that they've done. Somebody pointed out to me that our Wonders curriculum, this is the first group of students who've had Wonders since kindergarten. So that contributed. Our after-school program, our summer school, and that we not only take care of the students that need remediation, but we also take care of the students that need enrichment. And that's just as important during after school and summer school. Our letters program has brought a whole new realm of knowledge to our teachers, and the social emotional needs are being met every day. I can think of 3 students when I looked over the students that got 3s and 4s. 3 of our students who have had a tremendous amount of social emotional attention this year got 3s and 4s on their state assessments. And I can guarantee you, if they would have been left in their classrooms, they would not have even been here, let alone be able to have 3s and 4s on their state assessments. All of this together caused our students, we set them in front of their tests and they did well because of a combination of all that. And then lastly, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to serve Garfield for these past 7 years.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful job.
Hold on, I want to say something. Unless someone else, go ahead.
Yes, we will.
Oh, I'm just saying we're going to miss you. I've loved being on the board. Serving in this capacity, but also as PTO and as my child's principal. You're fantastic, and you will be really missed.
Here's something that really bothers me, and it's not you. What you said is exciting, and it's down to earth, considering the population that we deal with in Southeast Kansas, Parsons. The Kansas Policy Institute which you are aware of, are trying to infiltrate school boards and teachers because they don't like what the teachers are doing. You guys aren't producing Rhodes Scholars. What's wrong with you? You're not producing kids that score 36 on the ACT. What's wrong with you? But Kurt, you said, well, we're trying to teach our kids to be kinder, more reactive to each other, caring about each other, having some fun. And Misty, you said we have some enrichment programs, we have some kids that are struggling, and we have teachers that go above and beyond the regular duty. But you're not doing enough according to the Kansas Policy Institute. And that just infuriates me because I challenge those people to come down, get in your shoes for a week or a day, just one day. Get in your shoes and see what it's like, because they have things backwards. It's not all about data and numbers. It's about when a kid comes to your room that first day of school, you want them to leave better than they are on the last day of school. And that's what we're trying to do. And I hope they get this message because I'm infuriated. So, like Julie said, kudos.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good work.
I forgot two things. David Pyatt, it was his record that got broken, and in the pole vault.
Oh, yeah, it's okay.
David
Thank
Pyatt.
you.
And I'd like to thank Commercial Bank. They once again sponsored our Hard Work Pays Off shirts that we give to our class of 2030. They'll all be wearing them on Thursday. So thank you, Commercial Bank, again.
And that's the other thing that the Kansas Policy Institute doesn't understand. We are creating relationships with all of our community.
Sure. It takes all of us. It takes everybody.
Exactly. In fact, Julie gave me a sack of socks to give to the Youth Crisis Center. So we're in this together. You're
We are.
right.
And real quick, too, on the Garfield scores that Misty was talking about, at my first glance, it looks like our, our third graders not only outscored the state, but outscored them by double digits, 11% better than the state average in math. So really, really impressive.
Kudos.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Good work.
Strong work.
Excellent.
All right.
All right.
All right. After that pontificating, let's move on to 8.0, report on May Tri-County Board meeting. Mike Castles.
Okay, we took action on several items this time. We approved the IDEA 6B application. That's getting money for some of our programs. Is a federal program, and we have to make an application every year, and it's based on last year's allocations for this school year. We approved the calendar for the Tri-County office as well as the TEC building. We approved putting some new flooring in the TEC building because that building needs some work. We've got a 5-year plan that's going to be expensive, but it's going to be things that need to be done in that building if we're going to continue to use it. We spent a lot of time talking about staffing. We are really, not only Tri-County, but everybody, especially ed, is hurting. We have a great number. I believe it was 25% of our teachers are long-term subs. So we don't have licensed people in all those classrooms. We have long-term subs. And it's getting worse. Finances and special ed is a hard place to work. And you know that, Lou. You've been in special ed, I believe. It's a tough situation with kids, especially at the TEC. And our staff's doing a super job, but we need to figure out ways that we can get more put in. One of the things we talked about was signing bonuses. And I think a couple of districts want to do it, but it has to be all or none. And that may be an issue because of finances around our 7 counties, 7 school districts. But I would encourage anybody who's in education or thinking about education to look at special education as a career, because we are in desperate need of quality people in those classrooms to work with kids who have issues. And so that was a lot of our discussion this last month. We'll probably continue to be that.
Did they come up with anything besides the signing book? That was the main.
No, because we don't know what to do. They're just not out there. And I am pessimistic that we'll go to sign-in bonuses, because I don't think that all seven of the districts can afford it. And if one or two of them can't, it's not fair to them, and especially the co-op can't afford it, although we are going to have another year of no increase in fees to the district other than the TEC will go up. But everybody else is going to hold steady for the second year in a row. But hang on the following year probably, would be my guess.
So do you know if A&W and the Pittsburgh Co-op have the exact same problems? Or
Exact same problem. A&W got their health insurance rates and it went up 30%.
Well, see, the public needs to know that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not just here, it's all over, not only in Kansas, but nationwide. It's just a real difficult situation we're in.
And not just special education, but all general education. You see the job opening board on Kansas being the last, week of school, and there's jobs posted, probably 25 a day posted on there. So, a lot of openings.
Well, we're going to have to figure it out somehow.
Lou, like if there was a para within, didn't we used to help pay for a college education if they wanted to go into it?
We do that for our speech therapists.
Yeah, I knew that, but we don't do, okay, just speech therapist, okay.
So there are programs that the paras have through Tri-County that they can get a community college degree at no cost. So they could go to ICC and take those classes at no cost. They can, if they're here, we have an agreement with LCC. So there's that.
And that's something that we might start pushing, advertising as far as that. But even, I almost think if you get somebody in there that you can tell, because I can think of some of the aides that I worked with, that if we could have given them an incentive that we'd help pay for that degree, that's just something to maybe think about, an incentive for someone to go ahead and get their degree. One of those 25 that are not teachers. So
in the speech therapy, when we pay for their postgraduate, they make a commitment for 1 year per semester.
Right.
So if they go four semesters, we got them for a year, 4 years.
4 years. And that's helped because
that helps. We have cut down considerably our telehealth with speech therapy, because we've had great luck in getting young people to go into that and committed to us.
And another thought along those lines was, I heard that there's a possibility that if a student is doing student teaching to get their teaching degree, that they get paid to do their student teaching. Another incentive. And we used to have a grow your own policy with our paras to try to get them into special ed. I don't know what happened to that, but those are ideas that we just need to continue.
What's TEC stand for?
Tri-County Education Center.
And that's just the building name?
That's just the building name.
Okay.
And in that, we have our special purpose school for low incident special ed. We have our alternative day school, which is a therapeutic day school for behavior as well. So we have 2 or 3 different programs.
They have a lot of balls to juggle.
They do. It's a very busy building.
That's it.
All right. Item 9.0, technology update, a brief report from Ben McGuire.
Hello.
Hey, Ben.
Howdy.
You shall have 3 pages. I think it was not on your packet, but was in with it. If you end up don't having it, I have some extra copies here. So.
Love the color coding.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you. You want to grab all this? I don't need it. So. Yes, sir. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to look it over. Of course, no plan survives engagement with the enemy, so I went out to 2030, just basically to kind of show you what it would look like. Not that, as years come up, things change and stuff like that, but if you look, it looks like if we follow something close to this, it will be possible to kind of spread out the load over multiple years. So we're kind of shooting for that 250-ish mark every year, instead of having the $1 million year, then the $0 year. So if we can get pretty dependable on that, at least you'll know from the standpoint of what the needs are from my perspective, And, and our renewables, we're working on those now for next year. So, and they basically stay the same every year too. So, but yeah, I noted on here, I didn't make a note for all the yellow and green because they're doing okay. But if you have a question on any of them, feel free to let me know. The red I've kind of outlined on that page, and I just defined what yellow and green were. So I went into detail with red, like the printers. We can hold out another year on the printers because we have toner, so we might as well use it all up. We try to save the district money when we can, so we can use it all up and then only order a couple at a time and get going through the rest of the year. And then we're kind of waiting for a couple people to do a model refresh because it's nice to buy something that's new if it's going to cost X dollars and to buy something that's 4 years old instead of, 20 years old. So that kind of thing. And then in blue, there's kind of been a lot of discussion on like interactive displays versus smart boards. So I went ahead and threw something in there on that, kind of the cost analysis on that and why we've kind of done what we've done. And then the camera situation, especially at the middle school and high school, the theoreticals, looking up pricing and stuff on whether if we did everything in-house, if we got a company to come in and do it and run it, and just kind of those costs, those recurring costs, pros and cons. So I don't want to get too in the weeds on the cameras. I don't like to discuss security in open session. So, but if you do have concerns or something like that, if you need me to stick around for executive session, I'd be willing to do that.
And we can do that, however, it's not noted that we will discuss in executive session safety
Security, yeah.
and security. So we'll need to notice that, and you get to come back in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you could talk about security and executive session.
And you can, but you have to notice on it. And so what we put on here for our notice today was that we were going to discuss confidential employee information pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under COMA, employer-employee negotiations, and the exception relating to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student. And since we didn't notice that we were going to discuss the safety and security, but we'll be sure to do that.
And if you have another bonus meeting or something, I could stop by and talk on that one too during executive session.
And if you have a specific question, feel free to email Ben, and then he can share his response with everyone. We can put it in the view as well.
I like that view section where a board member asks, so that's really handy.
We could do that, or we'll make sure that we notice this for the June meeting.
And so overall, we're doing pretty well. That's the big project is cameras. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of holding out for a security grant. We haven't heard details on, there seems to be always one on the horizon. And then whenever it gets revealed, it's like, this is for doors. Close.
Except
okay.
you were looking for doors.
Security grant and, so one of these days that camera word will be on there and then we'll be already good to go.
Have you talked to Chief Spinks about security cameras?
The police chief in town?
That would be the police chief.
No, just because I haven't had to go ahead to do the project, but if that ended up happening, then yeah, we would.
Well, in regard to possible grants.
Oh, no. So, but that's a good idea.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Lots of info.
All right. Item 10.0. Action to accept donations to schools.
All right, that's on page 49 in your packet. First, Lincoln Elementary, the following donations. Lincoln Families donated at bingo night a total of $476. There were an anonymous donation for balls for students at recess valued at $18. And D&E Pizza made a donation from Domino's, $300, for a total of $794 at Lincoln this month. Garfield Elementary had that same D&E Pizza. That was a restricted donation for $400 from them, so we thank you for that. That was their total. At Guthridge, there was a PTO made a donation for the Holmes and Gordon Harry Potter, $110.57. That's what you heard Mr. Freeze referencing in his report earlier. PTO also made a donation for 4th and 5th grade MAP incentives, $299.52, for a total of $410.09 for the month there. At the middle school, there were 3 grants that were received from the Parsons Area Community Foundation. One was expanded life skills, valued at $1,000. One was to update the activity field, valued at $15,000. And one was smart board upgrades, valued at $10,500, for a total of $26,500 at the middle school in April. At the high school, Wesley United Methodist Church made a donation to Honor Flight, $135. St. Vincent de Paul Society made a donation to Honor Flight, $500. Bria and Jeff Scheibe made a donation to the Dust Kickers, $228. Mark Long made a donation of a Dirt Devil Power Express vacuum for the library, valued at $39, for a total of $902 at the high school. So the total district donations for April of 2023, $29,006.09. So I recommend that you approve those donations from our generous.
All right, need a motion to accept the donations?
I move to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Item 10.1, this is really good. Action on community eligibility provision.
Right, okay. So the community eligibility provision, which sometimes is called CEP, for the National School Lunch Program, provides an alternative to household applications for free and reduced price meals. At the beginning of the year, everyone fills out an application to see if you qualify for a free or reduced meal. Through this process, sites elect, like our district elects, to agree to serve all the students free lunches and breakfasts for 4 successive school years, and then we claim those back based on the percentage of identified students. So the way it works is you have to have between 30 and 39% of your students eligible based on this big, long formula. And for us, our total district was almost 60% eligible when we did it. The buildings, Garfield was at 61, Guthridge was at 60, Lincoln was at 64, Parsons Middle was at 62, the high school was almost 50. So we easily qualified for the community eligibility provision, which is also known as universal free meals. And it's available to the schools that meet the guidelines. We meet the guidelines, and it would mean that we would have free breakfast and free lunch for students for next year and for 4 consecutive years, but I think it's 5, isn't it? It's like next year and then 4 consecutive years. And then each year, it would mean we'd have to look at this again to see where our percentages were, and it might be more, what we would get back, the reimbursement would change based on where our percentages were, but we would continue to have it. Now, the caveat is that in order to do it, we're going to need families to fill out the household economic survey, because we receive other federal funding, at-risk funding and things based on those free and reduced lunch numbers. So a lot of places are very hesitant to go to this community where everyone eats universal free meals, because without that free and reduced lunch application, it may make it harder to receive other monies. But I feel like, and I believe that our families will fill out that household economic survey. It isn't very long. The new one will come out in July. Fill it out so that we could then receive other at-risk funding, and so that everyone is eligible for a free meal in USD 503.
Do we have a specific plan on trying to get the families to
We do.
complete that?
So there is the household economic survey. It has to be approved by the FDA, or USDA, anyway, by the food people, because they're the ones that send it out. So it'll be available July 1st. It will be a part of our online enrollment. And so when you enroll, there'll be a question. It'll say household economic survey. Now, if someone already receives food benefits, SNAP, what we used to call food stamps, any of those programs, that means they're direct certified. And so there'll be this little line that'll say, fill out the household economic survey. And it'll say, are you direct cert? Which that means, do you get foods? If they click yes, they'll continue on with enrollment. If they click no, they'll need to fill out that household economic survey. It's the number of people that live in your house and how much money you make in a year. That's what it is. So Barb McClellan is our, what do you call that? She's the one that goes through
Representative.
She does the lunch apps, and there's a special name for that. She goes through those lunch apps, makes sure all the papers and all the applications are in order. She's also one that does the verification. That's what she is. She's our verification clerk for lunch apps. So she would also be able to verify the household economic surveys, but would not use food service funds in which to pay her for the hours in which she does that.
So when would they fill these out?
So it would be a part of online enrollment, which
Okay.
we're going to enroll the middle of July.
So this year would be our first.
So the first year would be the 23-24 school year.
Wow.
And then it would be 4 more years that we would be eligible to provide all students in Parsons a free breakfast and a free lunch.
What's the financial reimbursement? How is it figured?
It's figured based on the percentage that you have that are eligible. And so since we are almost at 60% total, that reimbursement puts us, we'd be reimbursed at 96%, so we would only have a 4%.
96% of whatever it is that pre-reduced lunches get.
Yes.
Does this translate to better meals for the students?
So, well, it's going to be the
Does
same.
it translate to more money available to maybe buy more things or?
No, it's going to be about the same amount of money. We still work in those guidelines of everything from the health and nutrition that we currently have. Now, we do have.
Could help our enrollment numbers if free lunches
People
and
know you can
breakfasts
come to
here.
Parsons and have a free, and our meals are good. I mean, we've got the soup, we've got the salad bars.
They are good. They've gotten a lot better. The vegetable cart and the a la carte
Right.
veggie and fruit cart and
that you
the
have
share
as-
table and
as much fresh fruit or veggies
Yes.
as you want. And we do have the leafy greens that we're going to do at the high school this next year, which is that hydroponic trailer where we are growing all kinds of lettuces. And so those will be things that'll be added to our salad bars in addition, so kids can have some wasabi lettuce that our Viking gardeners grew and things like that. But
It'd be nice if we could have a day at each school where people could come in if they don't know how to fill it out, where we had snacks
We do that,
available.
we do that anyways.
Yeah,
We do that.
because it's online online, they can do it on their own, or they can come in.
Yeah, they're always welcome to come in, and at Lincoln, they all do come in.
Right.
They
For
come
the
in
thing.
because they have to set a time for screening. A lot of them have never been to school, they have lots of questions, and we want to make sure we can give them that one-on-one time, answer the questions, and show them how. The online enrollment is, for those of us that have, been around a long time and have 3 kids that are a junior and an 8th grader, and we know how to do it, and we don't have any questions. But if we get in there, we think, what does this mean? The offices are always open. When we open enrollment, we make sure that the offices are open so that they have someone that they can contact. And we do have kiosks set up in each of the buildings, so if it's too hard to do on a phone and they don't have a computer, they can come to the school and do it on the kiosk right there.
It's like the rec center, today was half price, pool pass day, and we've doubled our pool, not enrollment, but the number of kids that come and, anyhow, it's just a thought.
So.
All right,
Will
any
the
other-
secretaries be trained to help? I mean,
They have been.
they all help now.
Yeah.
Like at Lincoln, if you all pile in the cafeteria,
Right.
they all walk around and help you with.
but with this specific thing, I didn't know if there
We've
was
had
special
this
training
before.
for.
So when we had the free meals during COVID, when they gave everyone
Okay,
free meals,
yeah.
our at-risk funding was based on the household economic survey, and so it was already in the enrollment. What we found was that a lot of people skipped it.
Right.
Because they didn't understand what it was or how important it was. Or 2, they just put some random number in there.
Yeah.
Like, how much money do you make? I make $3 million, and there's 12 people that live in my house. And so that's where the verification came in, where Barb's looking at it saying, I know this is a mom and a dad and one, because a lot of times our high school kids, they could enroll themselves if, through that parent portal, but that's where the verification comes in and checking. But it should, for a lot of districts, people didn't get the response, and that had a direct impact on the amount of at-risk money they received. For Parsons, that was not the case, because if they didn't fill it out, we called them on the phone. If they didn't answer the phone, we knocked on their door. I mean, it's critical that it's filled out. And I think if people know everybody gets a free meal, which means
Well,
everybody's
it's
going
free
to do their
breakfast and free lunch,
free
correct?
breakfast and free lunch.
Yeah.
And that means everybody's going to do their part and fill this little survey out.
They probably do that just so they don't get those phone calls that you owe money, because when you get those, you get them a lot.
You do. You get them a lot.
Sometimes
We've
you
got
get
it
3
set
in
up.
one weekend.
You might.
Yeah.
It's set up to automatically do. You get a lot of robocalls that you owe $2.10. So my recommendation would be
Absolutely.
that the board
that
approved.
saves a lot of
that
money
community eligibility
for
provision.
families.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Any other discussion or questions or comments? If not, need a motion to approve the community eligibility provision.
I so move.
So moved.
Second?
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Item 10.2, action on full-time substitute teachers for the 23-24 school year.
Okay, prior to COVID, we had 2 full-time subs, and then once COVID hit, we came back on full force. We found it was very difficult to get subs, and so the board approved adding 3 additional, and at one point it was 4 additional, I think maybe 5, additional full-time subs in order to cover those classrooms, and used ESSER money in which to pay those. So we've currently had 5. 3 of them have accepted full-time teaching positions somewhere else in 23-24, and so that leaves 3 open spots and our 2 that are returning. So I would recommend that we have 5 additional full-time subs, which would be 3 additional full-time subs. 5 total. Yes,
We had that budgeted in ESSER for that.
we do.
What's our long-term plan
For that afterwards.
for that when Esther disappears another year?
When Esther in regard to this, I think what we're going to have to do is cut down the number because, we just are. This is something that it comes with benefits, and the sub pay is $140 a day, which is more than you can make basically anywhere else, except Coffeyville. That's always like a little race. See who's going to pay more, but I think we'll have to cut down to possibly 3 instead of 5 would be, because I think we could support 3.
But it'll depend on the budget.
So ESSER does run out at the end of 24?
September 2024 is the last payment that can be made. So for the next school year, we can use ESSER money for this. This time next year, we're going to have to be talking about, okay, are we going to have, we've always had 2. We've always had 2. And so are we just going to have 2, have another? How will that look? And it depends on what the budget looks like next year as well. So.
Any other questions?
And that same question comes up in the next item.
It does, but I've got a plan for that.
All right, need a motion to hire 3 additional full-time substitute teachers using ESSER funds.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Item 10.3, action on nurses' aide position for the 23-24 school year.
All right, and so then after COVID, here's where we added 3 additional nurse aides so that there is a health professional in each of the buildings. So next year, again, we can pay for that with ESSER money. I think moving beyond that, KDHE has some grants that are available, and so that would be the way I would look to fund that program 24-25 moving forward. But for next year, it is in the ESSER plan that has been approved, and to have those, it makes a big difference to have a health person in every building.
That was in the staff surveys, was noted how nice that is for the kids.
There's a lot of visits for ice packs.
And those positions weren't hard to fill, were
No,
they?
they weren't. Well, and we contracted, and they weren't hard for us at all. We contracted through
Right,
CHC,
CHC.
SCK, and we've had quality people, and they're all managed by our school nurse, who is, we've contracted with CHC for her services as well. So that's a very well-oiled machine. Amber has that running top-notch, and they are, doing...
Top-notch people
Yes,
doing it.
they are, absolutely. They're doing vision screenings, dental screenings, hearing screenings, they're
Our
giving
immunizations is
immunizations.
really high
Yeah, giving
percentage.
immunizations, physicals, it's great.
Any other questions or concerns? If not, need a motion to take action on hiring 3 nurse aide positions for the 2023-24 school year.
So moved?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. 10.4, discussion of possible action to waive textbook fees for the 2023-24 school year.
All right, so the last few years, Amanda and I got to looking. Beginning in 1920, that school year, all textbook fees have been waived every year since then. Now, prior to that, it was the scale was at elementary, it was $20, middle school was $35, high school was $50. And so that was years prior to the 1920, but beginning in 1920 and since that time, we have not had textbook fees. Now, someone said, well, you don't actually have textbooks, they're all online. Well, that
1920 or 2019?
Okay, so,
2019,
yes, the year 2019, 2020.
Oh, I thought you meant 1920. I was like, you look like a textbook.
I thought I heard that.
I meant like,
Stands corrected.
I do, I meant 2019.
That's why I have the earphones. I don't have-
Not 19.
Who was buying textbooks back then?
All right.
Were you in
Who
the
was paying
district
that
then, Lori?
amount of
Were
money?
you in the district then?
I
there
was
were
not
50
in the
cents in
district then.
1920.
Not in 1920, in the 2019, 2020 school year. So beginning that year, we quit paying fees. The board has elected each year not to charge those fees. Now, we have had technology fees in 2021, 21, 22, but we did not opt to have any technology fees this year. I guess we didn't have them in 21, 22. So.
And
that's
a lot
just-
of our texts are online.
They are. A lot of our textbooks and extracurricular materials.
Any discussion or questions?
So move.
So moved.
Second?
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Item 10.5, discussion and action on replacement of middle school doors, lintels, and frames.
All right, so we had a door project that we had gotten started initially when we had the doors at the high school and the doors at the middle school who the keyless entry systems wouldn't work because of the conditions of the doors. And so we had that project. They were checking the conditions of the middle school doors and found out they were in much worse shape than first anticipated. I can attest to the fact that they haven't worked in years. When I was the principal there, it was very difficult to get them locked, unlocked, you could yank them. I mean, it's been a constant concern. And when they got in, they realized the lintel, which is a big piece holding it all up, it's all disintegrating and falling apart, and the system won't work. The doors aren't safe. And for security purposes, we need things that will lock and will shut. And so as a change order to that project, they can demo those things, remove the existing, that deteriorated lintel. They can put it up, which things are new and improved. This was done the last time when the bond issue was passed, back in 2000 was when these doors were done. And that there'll be new doors, side lights, they can patch up the brick and do all of that masonry work for a cost of $57,800. And that's 2 sets of doors on the north side of the middle school, which is really what we would consider back behind the middle school, between the school and the activity field. That's where those 2 sets of doors are. And this way, the system, the keyless entry system that we purchased for safety and security would be able to work.
Would really work.
Would really work, because right now it really won't work. Those doors need some definite attention. And so that's kind of where we're at. So that would be a change order to that current project. It may require the use of some contingency funds. We found a really soppy, soggy wall just last week, as David just said, yeah, which we weren't aware of. But the facilities team met, talked about this, as well as the high school project. So that's what this is. That's where we're at.
Questions, comments, concerns?
Got to do it.
If not, have a motion?
Yep.
So
Second.
moved. Second. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passed. Item 10.6, discussion action on high school HVAC project using ESSER 3 funds.
Okay, so we received we went out for bid in March because we've got a number of units at the high school that are struggling. And we've had maintenance guys going up on the roof to start things every day during the winter, because when we had to open up to get more fresh air in those units, because of COVID, that gave us a lot more moisture in some of those units, which has caused some more problems. But most of these units are almost 20 years old. And with ESSER funds, that is an allowable expense. So we had these bid out at the high school. Now, with the ESSER money that's left, we don't have enough to do the entire building like we're doing at the middle school, but the 3 sections that needed the most attention, we do have ESSER funding available to pay for that. And so when the facilities team met, they felt like those areas 1, 2, and 5, not 4, which I inadvertently put in the view, but areas 1, 2, and 5, and that's a total of 31 units, so that's on that map that you see. The total cost, the lowest bid, total cost was Dean Norris was the lowest bid, and that cost was $479,331 for the total cost. Now, a portion of that can be ESSER, and then there's always that portion that ESSER won't cover for federal money, and so that breakout is there for you. $431,400 with ESSER funds, $47,933 with capital outlay funds. So it's like spending $47,000 to get $430-some thousand. And we do still have ESSER money that's available that needs to be allocated. So this would be.
Questions, comments?
What this is going to do, I guess, with our other energy, where we passed probably approximately 6 years ago, is that correct? So then we replaced a lot of HVAC units then, so then we're going to have a big portion coming up again in probably another 15 years. And then with these 31, we probably won't be on the board, but in another 20 to 30 years, they're going to have to replace all these at about approximately the same time.
You'll still be on.
No, I won't. I promise.
20 years. Yeah, and our facilities group has talked a lot about that, because in order to plan long-term, it is difficult, because with the influx of this money, we've really been able to fund some things that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to, would have required a bond. And so we just need to look at the money that we have and use it now, and then look to see, on down the road, we've prepared folks, but it may be that there needs to be a bond or something else. 20, 30 years down, 20 years probably. That's the warranty that these have, so.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a vicious circle.
It is a vicious circle. It really is. We were fortunate with our buses when we, how we staggered them, when we bought them, the ages of them, and then every other year, every third year, that's worked out well.
It has.
But those, even though a bus seemed like a lot of money when we spent the initial $750,000, we didn't have any of these other, we had these other needs. I think maybe we just weren't aware of the other needs. And as we've done some facility reviews and updates, we found, there's a lot of work to be done.
So I'm understanding you, David, to say it'll be 15 years before.
Well, I'm thinking even since the energy, I guess whatever you want to call it, whenever we did the energy replacement approximately 6 years ago, the lifespan of these things is 20 to 30 years. So in another 15, 20 years, we're going to be replacing all those from the energy bid. Then in our 20 to 30 years, we'll have to replace all these 31 units, and that doesn't include the other elementary schools or anything else, but at least the middle school and the high school.
And we've done Garfield since I've been here, so Garfield's all new, as well. But there's always one that breaks, it seems like, I don't want to say every day, but there's, the night of the PEF, Parsons Education Foundation, the really nice banquet and dinner that we had, the one in the kitchen. I went in and thought, it's 100 degrees in here, literally, and it was. They'd added Freon, but then the compressors went out. There's, today the one in our office went, they're just units that are older and aging, and when we opened them up to allow all that additional fresh air, that allows some additional moisture and things, So this is where we're at right now, so.
Any other comments? If not, need a motion to take action on high school HVAC project using ESSER 3 funds?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passed. All right. Item 10.7. We need 10 minutes, you say?
Yes, please.
Anyone else need any time?
I need like 2 minutes.
I need one.
Wait.
All right, so we want to go with 15?
Okay, stop. Sorry. I had Amanda check.
Yeah, it is possible to amend the agenda if you would like to at a regular meeting, anytime. Special meeting, no.
Okay. I had her check the rules.
Okay, we should amend it then to add security, because I'd like to have a
If-
discussion with Ben.
Is Ben still here? Did you know we could do that, Mike? I thought we couldn't
I
do that.
thought we could.
Okay, well, I knew I don't know.
Didn't want to.
Well, you should have said, like, because I know.
So, sorry, I don't.
So I know
I would, it'd be better to hold off. anyhow.
that's it, probably
Yeah.
would be then all the board members will be present.
Yeah.
But I did want you to know that she went and checked on that
Yeah.
with the board, through the board clerk's handbook, and it
Yeah.
actually could be amended,
Yeah.
Preferably at the
amend the
beginning of the
agenda
meeting, which
anytime
you
you
should have
want
done. So
to,
next time,
actually.
say. But this way, now we've all learned something new, which makes it a great day, right? It is. It's always a good day when you learn something. Okay, sorry. Now we're ready.
So we need
I was-
10, 5, 5.
Oh,
I only need 2.
and I probably could do it in less than.
Olivia, how much do you need?
A couple.
Okay, so 15 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters for non-elected personnel, employer-employee negotiations, confidential student information, starting at 7:10 to go to 7:25. Need a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. 2024.
Okay, and those are listed on page 50 through 52 of your board agenda. I would recommend that you approve those classified staff as presented.
Move to approve classified staff as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. 10.9, action approved summer supplemental assignments,
Okay,
page 53.
Yeah, those are all listed on page 53, and that is, and our summer school, again, is funded with ESSER funds as well for the next 2 summers. So it's recommended that the list of summer school supplemental positions assignments be approved as presented.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 10.10, action approved summer school assignments, page 50. Oops. No, we're on action on personnel.
Well, yeah, that kind of got me there for a minute, because one was summer supplemental assignments, and that's not funded with ESSER, I should clarify.
Yeah,
That is
okay.
our weights, our conditioning,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. I misspoke.
That's all right.
The next one is the summer school assignments, and regular summer school is paid with ESSER funds. And so that list is on page 54, not page 53. So I would recommend that that list of summer school assignments be approved as presented, with the cost of that being paid by ESSER funds.
Need a motion?
Yep.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Is that through 2024 as well?
Those funds
Yeah,
have to be
yes.
expended by September of 2024. So this year, we'll have summer school funded. Next year, we'll have summer school funded with ESSER. And that's another item that we're going to have to look at in the future for budgeting purposes. So,
All
absolutely.
right. Action 10.11, action on personnel and the addendum to the agenda.
Sure. All right, so these are the recommendations for employment. Bridget Dunley, middle school assistant volleyball coach, effective the 23-24 season. Emily Hanshey, middle school math teacher, effective the 23-24 school year. Morgan Heisey, 7th grade language arts teacher, effective the 23-24 school year. Sammy Pontius, middle school head volleyball coach, effective the 23-24 season. And Kyle Hutley, middle school keyboarding multimedia teacher, effective the 23-24 school year. I recommend that you approve those folks for employment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
And second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, we've got 2 resignations from employment. Autumn Dickens, 7th grade math teacher, effective the end of the 22-23 school year, and Bailey Monty, middle school math aide, effective the end of the 22-23 school year. I recommend that you approve those resignations.
Need a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
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 Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
I do believe so. Thank you.
Amen.